All right, so get this. Imagine AI that can actually reason things out, like step by step, like how we do.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at today, the absolute cutting edge of language models, ones that think and act and adapt just like us. We've got 2 research papers, really incredible stuff.
Yeah, 2 really fascinating papers.
Yeah, REACT, synergizing reasoning and acting in language models. That's the first one.
And language models are few shot learners, the one that introduced GPT-3.
Oh, right. Yeah.
2 sides of the same coin, really, pushing the boundaries.
Okay, so let's start with REACT. What's so groundbreaking about this one?
Well, what's fascinating is how it brings together 2 key elements, right? Reasoning and then acting. It's not just about thinking through a problem, but also taking actions based on that.
Right.
Observing what happens and then changing its approach based on what it learns. So it's much more dynamic.
It's like interactive?
Yeah, interactive, exactly.
So it's not just stuck in its own little digital head. It can actually, reach out into a virtual world and actually test out its ideas.
Precisely. Imagine like a scientist running experiments.
Okay. Yeah.
So think of it like this. You're playing a text-based game, like an adventure game.
Okay.
React would be able to understand the rules, figure out what it needs to do, the actions to take,
right,
and then actually play the game. Learning from, its successes and failures as it goes.
Wow.
That combination, that's really what makes it so powerful.
Okay, I'm starting to see why this is such a big deal. But how does it actually work? What's going on, like, under the hood?
Well, one of the really key innovations is its use of chain of thought prompting. Basically a way for the model to lay out its thought process step by step.
So like a human would?
Just like a human would. So instead of just giving an answer, it shows you how it got there.
So it's kind of like it's thinking out loud. It's letting us peek into the process.
Let's say.
That seems like a huge step toward making AI more, transparent.
Absolutely. Transparency, that's one of the big advantages here.
Yeah.
It's not this black box anymore,
Right.
You don't just have to trust the output. We can actually see how it reached its conclusions.
It's so much more trustworthy.
Much more trustworthy. And controllable.
Yeah, no more spooky AI making decisions we can't even understand.
Right.
But you mentioned React can interact with its environment.
Yeah.
Can you give us a concrete example of what that looks like?
Sure. Imagine React is tasked with finding a specific item in a virtual world.
Okay.
It might start by reasoning, like, okay, I need to find this. Where would it logically be? Maybe in a drawer, maybe a cabinet. Then it takes action. It goes to those locations and searches.
Right.
And if it doesn't find it, it reevaluates, tries a different approach,
Just like a human would.
Just like a human.
So it's not just blindly following instructions. It's adapting.
It's adapting. Exactly.
That's impressive.
And that's one of the key strengths here. It's not limited to one specific task or domain. Researchers have tested it on all sorts of things, from question answering to navigating, complex virtual environments.
Wow.
It's shown incredible flexibility.
Okay, this React system is shaping up to be pretty incredible. But before we go too far down that road, let's shift gears and talk about GPT-3. Now, this is the one that everyone's heard of, right?
Yeah.
The AI that can write like a human.
GPT-3 definitely made a splash. It's a massive language model, 175 billion parameters.
Oh, okay.
That's orders of magnitude larger than anything that came before it.
I have to admit, I'm a little lost on the whole parameters thing. What does that actually mean?
Well, think of parameters like the building blocks of a language model's knowledge.
Okay.
Or like the connections between neurons in our brains.
Gotcha.
The more parameters a model has, the more nuanced and complex its understanding of language becomes.
So it's like GPT-3 has a supercharged brain.
Exactly. Packed with, trillions of these connections.
Wow.
It allows it to process and generate language in ways that we just couldn't imagine before.
And one of the most remarkable things about GPT-3 is its ability to learn from just a few examples, right?
Yeah. Few-shot learning.
It's like it can pick up a new skill with just a quick demo. It doesn't need years of training like the old AI systems.
Imagine showing GPT-3 just a handful of examples of, say, translating English to French.
Okay.
And suddenly it can start translating entire texts really accurately.
Wow.
Even without specific training on translation, it's a game changer for AI adaptability.
You can learn new tricks incredibly fast.
Incredibly fast.
It's so much more versatile.
Exactly. And that's, just scratching the surface.
Right.
Researchers have shown that it can generate all sorts of different creative text formats like poems, code, scripts. even musical pieces.
It's both amazing and a bit unsettling, isn't it? Like, if an AI can write a convincing news article or compose a beautiful piece of music, what does that say about human creativity?
It raises some profound questions about intelligence, creativity, for sure.
Yeah.
But it also highlights the progress we've made in AI.
We're creating systems that can generate human quality output across so many tasks.
Yeah.
It's a mind-blowing moment in the evolution of AI. But before we get too carried away with the possibilities,
Right.
let's take a step back and consider the limitations here.
Of course, of course.
Because even with all this, these models aren't perfect, are they?
Absolutely. No AI system is without its limitations.
Right.
And understanding those is crucial. If we want to use this technology responsibly.
Yeah.
For example, one limitation highlighted in the GPT-3 paper is its struggle with tasks that require bidirectionality.
Bidirectionality. Now, there's a word I haven't heard in a while. Can you break that down for us?
Put simply, bidirectionality refers to the ability to consider both the preceding and following context, right, when processing language. Humans, we do this naturally.
Okay, yeah.
We understand a word or a phrase,
Yeah.
not just by what comes before it, but by what comes after it.
So, like, if I say the word bank, you wouldn't know if I was talking about a financial institution or the edge of a river until you heard the rest of the sentence.
Exactly. And that's where GPT-3, it runs into trouble.
Okay.
It processes text linearly from left to right. Makes it great at predicting the next word, but tasks that need, like, a more holistic understanding.
Yeah.
That's tricky.
So things like comparing two different pieces of text or identifying contradictions or understanding complex arguments, those might be hard for GPT-3.
Exactly. A
Yeah.
structural limitation.
Now, I also remember reading about how the researchers tried to prevent GPT-3 from just, like, memorizing the training data.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
They called it measuring and preventing a memorization of benchmarks, I think.
Yeah, a critical issue.
Yeah.
If a model has just memorized huge chunks of its training data, it might seem to do well, but it's not really showing intelligence.
Right, right. It's like a student just parroting back answers.
Exactly. So to deal with this, the researchers developed techniques to identify and filter out any overlap.
Between the training data and the benchmark data sets.
Exactly.
So they're basically trying to make sure that GPT-3 is actually learning, not just spitting out memorized facts.
They are. And their analysis, it did find some instances of potential contamination,
Oh, really?
particularly with tasks involving word unscrambling and the Winograd schema challenge.
Which tests common sense reasoning.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a cat and mouse game then. Researchers are always trying to stay one step ahead.
It is a crucial part of the process.
Right.
And while these limitations, highlight areas we need to improve,
Yeah.
the overall progress is impressive.
It's amazing to think how far we've come. Language models that can reason, act, learn from just a few examples, write creatively. It's like we're stepping into science fiction.
And with that step comes, all sorts of new possibilities.
And challenges.
And challenges, absolutely.
Okay, well, that sounds like a perfect place to pause.
Yeah.
We've laid the groundwork here, exploring these amazing capabilities and some of the limitations. But what about the bigger picture? What are the implications for the future of AI? And for us, for humans?
Those are the big questions, and I'm glad you're asking them,
Yeah.
because as we keep pushing these boundaries, it's more important than ever to consider the broader context.
All right, listener, we're going to take a quick pause here.
Yeah.
But don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll delve deeper into the potential applications, the ethical considerations, and what these advancements might mean for the future of AI and for humanity. Stay tuned.
Welcome back.
All right, so before the break, we're talking about some of the limitations of these models, like React and GPT-3. Now, I kind of want to shift gears and think about the potential applications. Like, where could this technology actually lead us?
The possibilities are vast, really. One area where these language models could make a huge difference is in scientific research.
Oh, okay.
Imagine using, say, GPT-3 to analyze all that complex scientific data, or even to generate hypotheses.
So instead of researchers spending months poring over data, GPT-3 could help them sift through it, find the most promising leads.
Exactly. It could accelerate scientific discovery by helping researchers, focus their efforts.
That's amazing. And what about in creative fields? We already talked about GPT-3 writing stories, poems, but could it also compose music, create art, design video games, maybe?
Absolutely. I mean, we're already seeing those early examples of AI-generated art and music.
Great.
And these technologies are only going to get more sophisticated.
Imagine collaborating with an AI to create a custom piece of music,
Yeah, like having your own AI muse.
inspiring you.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just creative expression.
Right.
These language models could change how we learn, how we access information.
Oh, okay.
Imagine using GPT-3 as a personalized tutor,
Interesting.
able to adapt to your learning style.
So instead of struggling with a textbook, you could have this AI tutor that tailors the experience to you.
Precisely. It could revolutionize education, make it more engaging, more effective.
These are some really exciting possibilities, but we should also talk about the potential downsides, right?
Sure.
One concern that always comes up with AI is job displacement. Could these language models lead to job losses, like in writing, translation, customer service?
It's a valid concern, absolutely.
Yeah.
As they become more capable, they could automate tasks that humans are doing now.
Right.
But I think it's important to remember that AI is a tool.
Okay.
Like any tool, it can be used for good or for, well, not so good purposes.
So it's not about AI taking over, but about how we choose to use it.
Exactly. We need to be thoughtful about how we integrate these technologies into our workforce.
Right.
Retraining workers for new roles, creating new job opportunities.
Making sure the benefits are shared.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about steering progress in a direction that benefits everyone.
It's not about stopping progress. It's about guiding it.
Exactly. Which brings us to another important point, the potential for misuse.
Okay. Yeah.
We talked about GPT-3 generating fake news.
How do we prevent that? How do we prevent these technologies from being used for harm?
That's the challenge, isn't it? It feels like with every new technology,
Right.
there's this potential for misuse.
But I guess it's important to remember that these language models aren't like sentient.
Right.
They're tools reflecting the data they're trained on.
And the intentions of their creators.
So the responsibility really lies with us.
It does. We need safeguards, regulations to prevent misuse,
And a culture of responsible development.
where ethics are considered from the beginning.
Not just pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
But ensuring those advancements actually serve humanity.
I agree. This is an incredible time to be alive. But I want to bring us back to something specific from that GPT-3 paper.
Oh, okay.
That study where they asked human judges to distinguish between real news articles and articles generated by GPT-3.
Yes, the one where the judges could only tell them apart about 52% of the time.
Barely better than chance.
Amazing, isn't it?
Really highlights how sophisticated these models are.
The nuance, the context, it's remarkable.
It makes you wonder, though. If an AI can write so convincingly, what does that say about language itself? About communication?
Raises some fascinating questions, doesn't it?
But on a practical level, it highlights the need for, critical thinking, media literacy.
Now more than ever.
We have to be able to tell fact from fiction.
Question what we read, what we hear.
Which brings us to another key point, transparency. One of the things I like about React is that we can see its reasoning process.
Transparency is crucial with AI.
Yeah.
We have to understand how these systems work,
Yeah.
identify biases, make sure they're being used ethically.
It can't be a black box anymore.
No, we need systems that are open, explainable.
We've covered a lot of ground here, haven't we?
We have.
From the technical details to the bigger societal implications.
Mm-hmm.
But before we wrap up, I want to come back to one final thought.
Okay.
We've talked about the potential benefits, the risks, but ultimately, the impact of these technologies depends on us, on the choices we make.
It does. It's up to us to ensure AI is used for good, to create a future where it empowers humanity.
Exactly. The future of AI isn't set in stone. It's something we're actively creating right now.
Through our choices, our actions.
So we have to choose wisely. All right, listener, we're going to take another quick break.
Okay.
But we'll be back in a moment to wrap up this deep dive into the world of advanced language models. Stay with us.
And we're back, wrapping up our deep dive into these incredible language models.
React, GPT-3, really fascinating stuff.
We've seen how they can reason, act, generate human quality text. It's amazing.
And we've talked about the potential, both the good and the potential risks.
So as we close out, I want to leave our listeners with a few key takeaways. What do you think?
I think one of the biggest is that we're at the start of something truly new with AI.
A new era.
Yeah, where language models, they aren't just tools for communication anymore.
There's systems for thought, for action.
Capable of things we once thought only humans could do.
Writing, analyzing data,
Yeah.
it's pushing the boundaries, but like with any powerful technology, we've got these opportunities, but also challenges.
We can't forget about the potential for misuse.
Absolutely not. It has to be ethical, responsible.
This is where the conversation gets really important. How do we want to shape the future of AI?
It's on us, isn't it?
Yeah, it's our responsibility. We've seen how AI can be a force for good, but we have to make that happen.
Fostering responsible development, ethics at every stage.
We need to educate ourselves, understand these technologies,
Yeah, their capabilities, their limits.
and have those open, honest conversations about the future we want to create.
Because the future isn't something that just happens to us.
We're building it right now with the choices we make.
So let's choose wisely.
Let's create a future where AI empowers us, makes our lives better, and helps solve some of the biggest problems facing the world.
That's a future worth fighting for.
And on that note, I want to thank our listeners for joining us on this deep dive. It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
We hope you found it informative, thought-provoking, and that it sparked some curiosity.
We always encourage you to keep learning, keep exploring.
The world of AI is moving fast. There's always something new.
So stay curious, stay engaged,
And keep those questions coming.
because the future of AI is in our hands. And that's a pretty incredible thing to think about.
It is. Until next time, keep exploring the world of knowledge.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.